Welcome back to New Day Northwest. You know, it's been a while since a news story has resonated like the murders of 4 college students in Moscow, Idaho. King 5 reporter Sebastian Robertson has been on this story from the beginning. He joins me now. Thank you for being here. I know that you've been really busy. You've been back and forth to Idaho, right?
Yeah, several times. There's been a lot of developments over the past couple months.
Why do you think there is so much interest in the case?
Well, frankly, the story is just awful. And it happens in a part of the country that doesn't experience violent crime like this. I think that the last murder in that part of the country was 7 years ago.
Wow.
So to have 4 kids killed overnight was just unimaginable.
Yeah.
And it's one of these stories where everybody can kind of picture themselves in that world. Everybody has somebody who's away to college.
Or has been there.
Or has been there, you know, has been that age, that 20-something age, no care in the world, and to have that all kind of ripped away.
In such a brutal way.
Such a brutal way, and then for the first several weeks, such a mystery.
Yes.
You know, the thinking that in now it's what, 2023?
Yeah.
That somebody could commit a violent crime like that and then just literally disappear into the night without a trace, because it seemed that for so long the fear was that nobody would be arrested for this.
What do we know about the suspect, Brian Coburger?
Well, there was that shocking development that an arrest was made. It came down just a few days before Christmas Eve. I believe it was December 30th.
Yeah, I remember seeing that.
Everybody gathered in Moscow, Idaho, and you can see Coburger right there. He's the 28-year-old that was arrested. He has been charged with 4 counts of murder, 1 count of burglary in connection to that murder that happened on November 13th. He hasn't been convicted, so he is obviously innocent until proven guilty. But he will run through the court process. You asked me what we know about him.
Yes.
We know that he was a student at WSU, which is less than a 30-minute drive, probably even less than that, like a less than 20-minute drive from the University of Idaho. He's from Pennsylvania, did his undergrad studies there, PhD candidate studying criminology. So his life was about just this, getting into the head of criminals and trying to figure out their pathology, how they work, what makes them tick.
So the judge recently unsealed the search warrants for Coburger's apartment. What are some of the things that stood out to you in that search warrant?
Well, this case has been so, you know, shrouded in mystery.
Very hush-hush, yeah.
Very hush-hush. And it required a lot of faith. And by that I mean people had to have faith in the FBI and Moscow PD because they kept coming out and saying, we're working this. We promise we're working this. We just can't tell you what we're doing.
And sometimes they won't say because it can affect the case and it can affect. It led to a lot of frustration early on, but you know, even as members of the media, we get this, right? I mean, you have to have the evidence so you can make sure that person doesn't get off the hook. Were there anything in that search warrant of the apartment that you thought, whoa, this is chilling, or?
So this is the most recent development, is that they obtained a warrant and they searched Coburger's apartment near Washington State University. That's where he lived when he was a PhD student until a couple weeks ago, because he's locked up. But they performed that search warrant, and they're being very vague in the wording, but they have said there are some red stains on fabric that they've pulled from that apartment, several strands of hair, and then interestingly, one of those like Fire Stick TV USBs that plug in. So I think they're purposefully being vague.
Right.
We're still waiting on some testing. All this, you know, goes to crime labs. So the hope is that we'll get more details as the weeks come. But what is most likely the case is that the most information will come if and when this goes to trial.
To trial, and we'll be seeing that, and there'll be a jury selection, so it is kind of good that they're being vague about this to keep that jury pool as clean as they can.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Sebastian. We will be checking in with you again soon about all this. Meantime,